Hi, my name is Bryce Rankins, and you're listening to episode 27.2
Point two
of Sneaky Geek. Okay, cool. So track rolls, and then we're good.
Cool. Cue the music.
Hey, dudes, dudettes, and
Everybody else?
in between dudexes.
Inside?
Inside the dude realm, outside the dude realm.
Ooh, hey, no, that got
Around
dirty.
the dude realm.
Around the dude.
and around.
In and around the dude realm. We're Californian, everybody's
Everybody's
a
a
dude.
dude. Everything's a dude.
Anyway, dudes.
I'm a dude. He's a
What's up,
dude. We're all
dudes?
dudes.
Have a
We're
dude?
dudes. You know.
Anyway, we're three dudes. Oh, hey, so guess what? We're still talking about Star Wars Celebration.
Star Wars!
Because we only got through day one
Yeah.
of Star Wars Celebration in our point one, but we are going to try to move through this quicker because we don't have an entire trailer to break down and analyze.
Yeah.
Or rather, we have like 4 trailers to break down and analyze, but we're not going to do it.
No, ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Even though they're so good.
But today, we are joined by somebody who's supposed to have been on this podcast for at some point in the
Like,
last 27
Long time
episodes.
ago.
I'm here now.
But he's here now. We've got Amir Hamid. Yay! So Amir, your
You
last
guys can't
name's
see, but
on
there's a
here.
huge crowd in front of us cheering.
Yeah, we had to cut their
Yeah.
mics. They were just too damn
Yeah.
loud.
Too loud. Good thing we've got clear, clean audio on all of our very nice lapel mics and aren't just, rocking a Blue Yeti on a mic stand.
Nope,
barely
that's not
holding it
happening.
together in the
No,
middle
this is
of
a
our
professional
logo.
podcast.
We're in a
Come
studio.
on. Drink break.
Yeah, and after all the bragging we did about having an actual studio space to record in, we then filled it with our dining room because we're redoing our floors so that we can have a nice fancy floor in our dining room.
So it smells lovely in here now.
It does. It smells like stain. Anyway, it's been a few days since the Saturday, Sunday, Monday Star Wars Celebration Extravaganza.
Yeah.
So remembering all the tiny, minute details like we did on our last episode is probably not going to happen.
No,
But,
because we did that like right after.
yeah, it was quite fresh.
Yes.
We have quite a few things to talk about. We have Clone Wars panel happened.
Oh yeah.
A Rebels panel happened.
Sure did.
A
Fallen Order.
Mandalorian.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
And Mandalorian.
And there was one. Oh, and then the anniversary of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace,
Yes.
was also, there was a panel for that as well.
We had the Galaxy's Edge panel,
I didn't see the
which
Galaxy's
I
Edge
did not
panel.
watch because I want to go into Galaxy's Edge, aka Star Wars Land, fresh, knowing nothing. I want to go
That's
in
fair.
and just like
Spoiler free.
spoiler free, be immersed, which is really hard. I saw some. I mean, we live near it, so you can see some
Every
stuff
time
going
I
on.
drive over that, sometimes I take that overpass just to go
yeah.
look and be like,
Like,
what's going on?
ooh.
Ooh, they put a tower next to that rock
Yeah.
spire.
Yeah. So I know a few things, and there's a lot of cool art stuff they had at the panel that they talked about. I think I caught like a hot second of it. I'm like, no, I don't want to see this anymore.
Well, what do we know about Galaxy's Edge so far from just, things we know from people who have been near it, etc.,
It takes place on the planet of Batuu.
which is located in, or
The
which
Outer
is a
Rim?
setting in the film, or in the book Thrawn,
Mm-hmm.
the new one, not part of any previous
Alliances.
Legends thing, the new Thrawn book, and not part of Thrawn Alliances, and not part of whatever other Thrawn book they're coming out with.
Yeah.
Um,
Gave a cool little backstory. That took place during the Clone Wars and just before season 4 of Rebels, so it's kind of cool. You get like a back and forth. The book was really cool because Thrawn got to hang out with Anakin,
oh, cool.
and then
In Alliances or in the first
Yeah.
one? Oh, is it in Alliances
Yeah.
that the book exists? The
yeah,
story
the
takes
planet.
place?
Yeah.
Oh, well, my bad. Okay, so
Yeah.
I apologize. I said that unclearly. Thrawn Alliances has Batuu.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I know, but it's not what I said, so
But it's okay. I correct you, so we're okay.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Look.
Anyway, I would get through that book if that stupid southern accent that Mark Thompson decided to use wasn't so annoying.
I couldn't tell.
Well, it was a good accent. It was fine. I just didn't understand why anybody in
Oh, you're
Star
listening
Wars
to
had
the
a
book.
southern accent. I listen to almost all my Star Wars books
Yeah.
because
Oh,
they
okay.
have sound effects and
point.
music.
Yeah, and it's they're so good.
Do you want to have a book with lightsabers, or do you want to have a book with actual lightsaber sounds? Like,
Good point.
Uh huh.
Good point.
Yeah. So we know it's on that planet. Yeah, Thrawn gets to hang out with Anakin, and then later on, he gets to hang out with Darth Vader, and he slowly starts putting pieces together. Like,
because Thrawn's a smart dude.
Yeah. So it's called the Black Spire Outpost. There's this book coming out that's going to kind of fill in some more background on the Black Spire base there. Well, the book takes place after The Last Jedi, because we know there's a time jump. We don't know exactly how long of a time jump, but there's a time jump between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. So this book takes place in between the movies, so it kind of... Apparently there's a base or something that the New Republic or the Resistance might be looking for. So this book's out August 27th of 2019 this year, which is going to coincide with the opening of Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland and in Disney World. The Disney World one is opening later in the summer, and the Disneyland one's going to open up in late May. But yeah, so the panel just kind of, I think, broke down what they're going to find in there, different things that you can see that's part of the Star Wars galaxy already.
Did they talk about Hondo at all?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, you didn't watch it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but we did see...
We've seen
Yeah,
Hondo.
so Hondo, one of our favorite characters on Clone Wars and Rebels, has like a full animatronic dude in there.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Which
cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about because it means it's like the closest thing to a living, like live action Hondo that we've seen.
Yeah.
Which could pave a way for that to appear in other media that is live action,
Hell
which
yeah.
they are exploring now.
Yeah.
So, because we've already had one bridge over from...
Rebels?
Well, we've had two now. We've had two
Salt.
bridge overs from Rebels because we have Maul and Solo, and then we have the Ghost and Chopper
And
both
Chopper's in
appear
Rogue One.
in and a reference to Captain Syndulla are all in Rogue One, but we haven't seen anybody other than like ships and things that could easily CGI.
Yeah.
Whereas a Hondo living human,
He's there
humanoid
talking to you.
live
and-
action thing
That's gonna be pretty cool.
could be really, really cool. I mean, he moves exactly like Jack Sparrow. It looks like they just took Jack Sparrow and put a Hondo face on
Yeah.
him.
Which,
But-
you know what, I'm okay with.
I mean, that's essentially who Hondo becomes. He's a space pirate, and like, of course, he becomes sort of a Jack Sparrowish type character who values when somebody screws him over. Like,
Right. Yeah. It's gonna be so... I can't wait to see it.
I want to see space pirates of the Black Spire outpost.
But apparently his part of the whole park is for some reason, he has the Falcon. So they built like a life-size Falcon in the park, and there's part of a ride that's in there.
Does the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge take place between the original trilogy and...
It's just, I don't know if there is a certain
Because
time frame.
I wouldn't mind the idea that at some point during the various hands that changed, that the Millennium Falcon changed through during that course of time before The Force Awakens, if Hondo was one of the names that wound up.
That'd be hilarious.
If he got it for a brief moment. Because I feel like there's evidence that it went through, like they've stated some of the people who've had it. Oh, and because they're working toward that in the Millennium Falcon like storyline that we talked about in the Del Rey
that's right.
book panel we went to at Comic-Con.
That's
Did
not
you
too much
watch
of a
you
reach
watched
either.
the Del Rey panel?
It wasn't shown.
It wasn't?
I
You were
didn't
supposed
find
to
it
watch
online.
it. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't find it online.
So I haven't watched the Del Rey panel either,
Yeah.
which I suppose is the next panel we were supposed to talk about.
But anyway, so the Galaxy's Edge panel was going on. They showed some art stuff. They revealed that they have a deal with Coca-Cola, as Disney does, and they put the Coca-Cola brand like in Urbish, like the
really?
Star Wars
That's cool.
alphabet language kind of thing. Yeah, kind of cool, kind of lame, but I was like, you know what, whatever.
I mean, if you're gonna put an Arabish,
You might as well go all
Might
out.
as well do it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you want you're gonna want a Coke while you're in there.
Yeah.
So
All right,
it's
kinda
gonna be hot.
Pepsi,
It's gonna be
but-
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Also,
that's
that
what
planet,
they're
for
drinking.
whatever reason, I suppose I had this idea because I was only seeing the rocks on the other side of the edge of Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Because I was just seeing, the backside of it, which they have, over time, put more detail into the back of it as well. So when you look at it from the street, you still know it's not. It doesn't just look like an empty backlot. Like you don't just see scaffolding and stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they've decided to be like, let's go just a smidgen
Cover
extra.
this up. Yeah.
But one of the things I've really appreciated is I thought that Galaxy's Edge was going to be like kind of on a desert planet, but it's on a very well forested green planet.
Yeah.
Which means there will be ample shade and it won't be hotter than shit during the summer to be there. And if they
Very
want to throw
important.
misters up, it won't be weird
Yeah.
because it'll
gonna
be
fit.
It'll fit. Yeah. 'cause it'll
Imagine
fit.
little droids going by with like little misters going.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little, like cheese, mouse droid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so good. But yeah, so other than that,
I
know
also want the
there's-
trash cans to walk around and
Yeah.
actually be trash cans.
Yeah.
If they can make that happen,
Oh, gosh,
I'll be
they
really
have
fucking
to.
happy.
They have to.
Yeah, the ones that
Oh.
are very clearly like
Oh,
all
the
trash
gulp droids?
cans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
But let's be real.
yeah, they'll make them into trash.
Like the
can.
one in the
Trash can
Mandalorian
droids.
trailer.
Yes!
Yeah, the gulp
Yeah.
droid. Yeah, yeah. I think they're power droids. Like they're supposed to like help give power and charge things.
I'm
Yeah, but I also want a
Makes
trash
sense.
can one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want one that's just a trash can.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So
also, I would love R2D2, like not a protocol, an astromech serving drinks like
Yeah.
in Jabba's palace.
yeah, that's kind of a given. If they don't do that, they
have to do
messed
that,
up.
yeah.
They're messing
big
up.
time.
Real
yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So they also released some of the merch that they're going to give out that they're going to have in the
Yeah,
park.
they're not giving
They're
out
not giving out
anything.
nothing.
Giving
You're
out
going to
things.
give them all.
We're lucky they're letting
your
us
money.
walk into the room
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah. Shoot. But yeah, so you can build your own lightsabers. There's like holocrons you could buy. And as soon as I got to those, I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm good. I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
want to know what else I'm going to have to blow all my money on because I will.
Can't wait to be broke going there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was the Galaxy's
I
Edge.
assume they're going to improve
Panel,
the build your own lightsaber
It looked like
system
Yeah.
beyond what it was before.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll probably be similar to what you see in whatever the gift shop is at the end of
Yeah.
Star Tours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not having to go find your own crystal.
I still haven't actually walked into Launch Bay.
Really?
I don't think I have. I've never met Chewbacca.
Yeah, because
I know if I do go there,
I
I'm
think the
gonna cry.
last time, like, you went with me, all the Marvel stuff was still pretty big in there. Star Wars hadn't really taken it over yet.
Oh, okay. That might be a big factor.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out because it's cool and Chewie's so soft and
Cuddly.
huggable. Yeah,
I love Chewie.
It was a moment.
It's going to be a moment for
Yeah.
me. I know. I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Galaxy's Edge, or
Yeah.
at least what we've seen in the news of it.
Mhm.
What came after Galaxy's Edge?
Next up, we had the video game announcement for Star Wars Fallen Order.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Fallen
that
Order?
trailer!
Yeah.
That trailer was 99.9% perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ended with the EA logo on the bottom of the
Oh,
thing,
kind
which
of
is still upsetting.
tarnished it.
However,
Yes.
no microtransactions.
Right.
No
Huge
micro-
announcement.
And exclusively campaign. That's
Single
it.
player. Yeah.
Single player. I'm a little bummed that there's not like a couch co-op, but
And Respawn.
Yeah.
and it's Respawn.
EA
It's done by-
Respawn, who
yeah.
just did Apex Legends, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
And Respawn is actually is partially run by two guys from Infinity Ward who did the old Call of Duty games back before Call of Duty also became sort of a
Before it got
microtransaction
big.
kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, which honestly, like, Modern Warfare has way too short of a campaign because it is a Call of Duty game and they're like, no, multiplayer is what's selling them.
Yeah.
But if you play Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 as a campaign, like as a full game, it is a solid story.
Yeah.
They really know how to like when you feel like you can't be seen and you need to feel stealthy, like even though the game isn't built for stealth, they handle it.
Yeah.
You know, granted, Apex I don't think handles stealth worth beans.
Yeah.
But they, if they wanted to go multiplayer, I'd really appreciate it. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with a game that has no multiplayer.
Yeah. Have you ever played
Because-
Titanfall?
I've not played Titanfall.
Titanfall's
I remember when
Respawn.
Titanfall came out because
Yeah.
they had huge mechs walking around
Yep.
in at a Anime Expo.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but Respawn's
They did Titanfall and Titanfall 2, which is Apex is actually a spin-off of Titanfall.
no way.
Yeah.
Really?
I had no
Yeah.
idea.
So the fact those games are awesome. Titanfall's so much fun.
I've heard nothing but good things
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
Titanfall.
in fact, yeah, when all the announcements were coming out about this game, they're like, oh, like the company that did, Titanfall and Apex, are like, okay,
Yeah,
we're
now
cool.
Titanfall
there.
has an online component, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has a multiplayer, but also has like the campaign, which is really cool. It's got a pretty cool
Cool.
story.
Yeah.
See, because like there's a lot of games that are really critically acclaimed, like Destiny
Yeah.
and Overwatch and Apex Legends, where like that sort of thing, everyone has a lot of love for, but there's also plenty of critics.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I give crap to Destiny all the time because it's
Yeah.
WoW in space, but
I do, and I play it every day.
yeah, you freaking love Destiny.
Yeah.
I've missed out. You've missed out on opportunities to have fun with me because you've
of
been
Destiny.
stuck on Destiny.
Yeah.
And I like Apex, but I definitely think that it misses the bar a little bit in the Overwatch realm. And I like Overwatch, but I feel like sometimes people in Overwatch can be a little bit frustrating. Same thing with Fortnite. There's all these.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody talk shit about Titanfall's community or
Yeah.
Titanfall as a game.
Yeah.
I've never heard
Maybe check
anybody,
that
and
out.
maybe because it's just a little bit of a sleeper, and so it didn't get popular enough to have that like outspoken "we hate this thing." But like
Yeah.
anytime something regarding Titanfall happens, internet is like, "Yes, all hail, we love them."
Yeah.
So if that's who is making this,
Yeah.
then hopefully they've got enough. I mean, if they were able to do that under EA,
Yeah.
then they might be able to pull something a little bit better off.
And to be fair to EA, like they've been, let's face it, they've royally fudged up Battlefront 2, right?
Oh yeah.
So
And everybody made it known.
The single most downvoted, for those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
EA microtransactioned. Okay, so let's back
What's
up.
a
Let's back up.
microtransaction?
In games,
Rewind.
there are in games there's this thing that's in some video games called microtransactions. Microtransactions are actually just transactions with a prettier name,
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
pay money
You buy
to
stuff
have
in-game.
either something aesthetically different than other players within an online game, or you pay money for
to win.
you pay money
For
for
upgrades.
an upgrade that could give you an advantage, which basically makes the game play to win.
Yeah.
And
Pay to win.
it's
to win.
very, very frustrating for those of us who don't have lots of money or mommy and daddy's credit card.
Uh-huh.
Or a stolen credit card or whatever they're using
Yeah.
to pay
Kids
for it.
these days.
Yeah. So
Dude.
that was a problem because we knew that was going into Star Wars Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2 then released information on how you could get characters such as Darth Vader. Darth Vader is a critical character in the Star Wars universe. There
Literally,
is no
all
reason.
9 movies are about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no reason whatsoever why achieving the ability to pull Darth Vader out in the field in an online game such as Battlefront 2, which did have its own campaign, albeit not entirely as long as it could have been. Certainly not
story,
as
though.
good as Battlefront 2 for the
Really
PS2.
cool. I dug it.
I haven't
Oh, yeah.
finished it yet, but I am absolutely in love with it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in order to achieve the ability to have Darth Vader, it was going to take 40 hours of gameplay, and it was like, even then it was a maybe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
someone posted about it and said, "This is absurd.
What the
I
hell?"
can pay money to have the advantage of Darth Vader on the field, or I have to
Right off
work
the bat.
an entire work week
Yeah.
to get him."
And I
That
also
is
paid
asinine.
up to $80 for this game.
Oh,
Yeah, and
I
yeah,
paid $100. I bought the whole
special edition?
Special edition. I
Yeah.
played the game like 3 days, and I was like, "Fuck."
But that wasn't the only
Lost
character.
$100.
There was so many.
no,
other
there were
characters.
so many other lots of
There was a bunch
characters,
of guns, couple
ships,
maps,
guns,
yeah,
all
and,
these
like,
other benefits.
Yeah.
And so the EA, let's call them what they are, the like soften the blow and make us their PR
Yeah,
like
their PR
lackeys
troops, yeah.
came in and were like, we'd like to give the players a sense of accomplishment if they were to achieve this thing. And everyone's like, a sense of accomplishment, you pieces of shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I have to fight against, Tommy the 10-year-old who has, mommy's credit card
Yeah.
and is now like kicking my ass with Darth Vader because he has the time to play this and or he has the money to play this
Yeah.
because no one's stopping him when I'm sitting here trying to when I've paid money for your game already and you want me to pay
yeah.
more money.
Yep.
And so all of that it was the single most downvoted comment in Reddit history.
And
And
if you know
that-
Reddit, that's a big.
That's a
It was
huge
over
thing.
600,000. And then to make it worse,
It's still going.
corporate shills came in. It's been long enough now that it's probably not downvotable.
Wow.
But corporate shills came in who were basically fake profiles to try to defend EA, and they got called out right out
Yeah,
the chute.
yeah.
And then to this day, since that comment, I think EA has posted that profile has posted maybe 2 other comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shut that down.
couldn't,
They were like,
yeah.
we're never responding on
Yeah.
Reddit again. That was
Yeah.
a terrible idea.
And the huge thing about it too is when the game was actually finally released, because they released all this information beforehand, sales were down.
Yeah.
Dude, Black Friday, shelves were full
remember
of
that.
Star Wars Battlefront 2.
And no
You
one
were
was
seeing
buying it.
games flying off, everything. People boycotted the shit out of
Yeah,
that
and you know what? Like the entire gaming community came together. Was like, no, you know what? We're sick of this. This is crap.
If you can get the gaming community together,
yeah,
you
that's
know
how.
you're
And there was a
bad
divide
EA
because people were like, "You're taking this too far.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to say that microtransactions are gambling, blah blah blah." But there are
but
some.
it is.
There's
Yeah.
sometimes
Belgium
They banned it.
straight up until they fixed it because
Yeah.
microtransactions are, especially microtransactions where you're getting a loot box, which means you're paying for a maybe,
Yeah,
Yeah.
You don't know what you're
is
gonna get,
legally under their definition of gambling. It is legally gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which therefore is illegal because the minors are using it.
Yeah.
And so the gaming community did have a little bit of a divide of like, are we taking this too far? But it was like, how much further do you want it to go?
Because
before video games are always like
yeah,
this.
everything's going to be.
So
yeah.
they revamped their power-up system. They revamped their transaction system. And after a certain point, they said, like, no more strategically improving upgrades would be available for money.
Yeah, I hear the game is really good now.
Dude, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So when I saw it on Black Friday last year, a year after its release, I was like, I have no good reason to not buy this.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's been long enough where even if you buy it now, like, it's not going to be a big thing. Plus, if you end up getting it used at, like, GameStop,
like $10.
GameStop's getting the money, not EA.
I bought it digitally when it went on sale about a month and a half, 2 months before Black Friday, but I saw it there and I said to Clay, our roommate, I said, Clay, I'm going to buy you, like, a copy of Battlefront 2 so we can play together.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can't play Battlefront 2. Like, we're boycotting Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
And I said, if we don't
yeah.
reward EA for getting their
Fixing
shit
it.
together and fixing it, then they're not going to continue to fix it because they know they're going to lose money either way.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, to be fair to EA, they've kind of stepped their game up. Yeah. They've kind of stepped their game up since that happened. I mean, they really fucked up Anthem.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different story.
I've heard really bad things about Anthem.
But I hear that was more BioWare, but that's a whole other...
That's a whole
See, and
other
there's
podcast.
that thing
Say it. But that's a
what?
a whole other...
A whole other podcast.
There we go. There it is.
I'm officially part of the podcast now.
Yeah.
It's like, say what? I don't know what's going on.
I got it after a while.
But that brings
But
another
Anthem,
thing too.
Yeah.
Like there's a studio that actually creates and develops the game, but there's the studio that will release and promote the game and add in different stuff. And that's what EA did with Battlefront 2, I think, right?
Yeah.
Who developed that game?
DICE. You're right. It was
It was
DICE.
DICE. Okay, yeah.
The OG one or this one?
In collaboration
This
with
one.
Criterion
This one.
Games.
Oh,
Yeah.
Criterion game. That's right. What a Criterion game do?
Oh.
Not sure.
Yeah. Burnout. Need for Speed.
Oh, Burnout.
Oh, Burnout was so much fun.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't
man.
super huge into those games, but like that was one of them that like I don't know why.
Destroy cars.
Yeah.
So DICE, I have a lot about destruction of cars in video games. I remember when visible damage on cars was introduced in Test Drive 4 for the PC.
Man.
Like when visible damage was something you could see. I remember when Top Gear Rally put over like
Top Gear.
physical damage visible in the freaking good. Anyway,
Yeah.
back on DICE.
Yeah. So they developed the game, and then EA came in and were like, "Cool, we're gonna get our grubby little hands on it and do our own thing." Well, I think Lucasfilm was finally just like, "No, like you've kind of tarnished our name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We still have a few games left in our contract. Don't mess this up."
Yeah, and the thing is we had an existing video game company in LucasArts. LucasArts made everything from the Nintendo Star Wars game, Super Star Wars, all the way through
Jedi Knight,
to Jedi Knight and all
Jedi
and
Academy,
KOTOR,
Rogue
Knights
Squadron,
of the Old
Old school
Republic,
Battlefront 2, right?
Star Wars Pod Racer, Battlefront 2.
Star Wars Pod Racer was fun on the N64.
Yeah, it was.
I have it.
I love that game.
Oh yeah, it's over there.
I got Shadows of the Empire.
God, that was good. So
So
they had a good.
we have they had a really solid run, and they had
Yeah.
plans for more games too, but it got shut down in the buyout.
That was
And
before
they-
the buyout.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
It was a little bit before the buyout.
Yeah, because 1313 was on its way, and then they shut that down too.
That was a different company that was similar sort of thing where they contracted other game studios to create these games, and then LucasArts would help put them out.
Yeah, and
Well,
you've got to have
still,
somebody
yeah.
running the continuity,
Yeah.
and check and make sure you're in the
Yeah.
trust tree, etc.
Yeah.
But more on that later.
Yes.
It's another podcast.
No, that's
No,
this
it's this
podcast.
podcast. Yeah.
However, okay,
Almost.
so that's everything you need to know about EA.
Yeah.
EA is making Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi
Anyways.
Fallen Order looks
Oh, it
sick.
looks
Oh, it looks
amazing.
so awesome.
It's-
Starring the Joker from Gotham. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Is
So
it
That's Cameron Monaghan.
Cameron
something like
Monaghan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Monaghan. Oh, I just had it.
Marchan?
that? Oh, that game looks so awesome. I can't
It does. Yeah. So
Yeah, you play a Padawan, kind of like in the same situation that Kanan was in right after.
Yeah.
right after the Order
Order
66.
66 in the game.
Dude, I really hope
that's what you're
Kanan
thinking.
shows
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
You've got Inquisitors. There's an Inquisitor
Yes.
specifically made for this
Yeah.
game.
But was introduced in one of the comics earlier in the year.
Yeah.
They just threw that out there. Like, oh yeah, like we created this one, And because it takes so long to develop a video game, comics come out a little bit quicker.
Oh yeah.
They put it out in one of the Darth Vader comics. I'm like, I've seen that.
Yeah. Yeah, the High Inquisitor is his own dude, and he is a former Temple Guard.
Temple Guard.
From when the Jedi were still doing their thing.
You can see all that
the
stuff in
original,
Rebels.
the original EU, there was just one Inquisitor, right?
I don't remember
There
there
weren't
being
any
an Inquisitor at
Inquisitors.
all.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I could swear there was one before the whole
Nope.
Mouseketeer buyout thing.
No. There were... It was... I mean, Vader and the Emperor trained Hands of the Emperor.
Maybe that's
Marjorie's
what I'm
one of
thinking
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Alright,
Inquisitors
actually-
kind of, but they're like, if 501st are Vader's fist, the Inquisitors are his boot.
Oh,
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And, except they're his boot
His foot in
specifically
their ass.
For Jedi.
for Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Inquisitor, like, we've had the Inquisitor, High Inquisitor. How many times am I going to say the word Inquisitor? Inquisitor.
Lots.
Inquisitor.
We have the High Inquisitor, and then we have the, like, lesser ones.
Yeah.
With their weird, stupid helicopter blades. But we had several of them introduced, including one voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar on Rebels.
Oh, that was right.
Because
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is her husband.
Yeah. Who plays Kanan.
And he plays Kanan. So we had a couple there, and then we had a brother, and they're all called, like, the
brother
fifth
or
brother,
the
the
sister.
sixth brother,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
sister.
Kind of cool. I like that.
We've had a few Inquisitors introduced in the comics, and then we had one introduced in the Ahsoka book, who has then made it into the comics. And the comics has kind of been a real bridge for all canon
Like,
Yeah.
a lot of things.
to especially the Vader comic.
Yeah.
God, it was so good. Not that we say that every other podcast, but God,
The
that
Vader
comic
comic
was
is so good.
Yeah.
I've read the first issue,
Oh yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, read Vader Down and the Vader's Castle arc,
Cool.
especially Vader's Castle. I like
Vader's
that.
Castle's legit.
He does. There's some really cool like Force meditation
And the art where they show what he's doing is
because he's like zenned out or whatever, but his
Yeah.
limbs are all Force projections,
yeah.
and so it's
Ooh.
just like this bright blue and this otherwise like black red nastiness.
Yeah.
It's super dope.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
But yeah, so the game,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order, takes place a few years after Order 66, and the character's just kind of going around. He's doing construction or deconstruction on old Clone Wars capital ships.
Yeah.
And in the trailer, it shows like one of his coworker guys like falls, and he's telling himself not to use the Force to save him.
And there's a
probe droid.
a probe droid, right
Yeah.
next to him, like
Yeah.
just watching.
Yeah. But apparently he catches him, and now he's on the run, and you get a lightsaber. Then you go too much. In the panel, they mentioned that the trailer itself was kind of a story trailer, just because there hasn't been anything announced on the game. Just that
Yeah,
there-
it was the first I even
Yeah.
heard of it. Was
Yeah.
at the con, so or
Yeah.
was rather while watching video of the con.
So it gave away a little bit of the story, but it was more lead-up story than what's actually going to happen in the game.
Yeah, and that was a common theme that they kind of said in A New Dawn when the Kanan prequel book came out, which was
Yeah,
my first Star Wars book since like Empire Strikes Back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And one of the recurring things is every time Kanan winds up saving somebody, he has to start his whole life
He has to go
over.
on the run, and
And he's
Yeah,
got to
and
go on the
again.
run again. Every time he lets it happen. Like towards the end of the book, he finally's like, I think I have to pack my lightsaber, and then he never turns the damn thing on.
Yeah.
But like this is the story of Jedi on the run. It's like, don't use the Force, don't use the Force. I gotta use the Force. Okay, now I'm on the run again.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting one of those actual crap, I'm on the run again stories.
yeah, which I'm pretty excited about. And the game
Do we
looks,
know who his master was?
the game looks amazing. No, we don't. We don't know in.
Gah.
Yeah, which I'm very okay with. Like, let me.
Kanan.
No,
he's
they
the
do
Padawan
say
back
the
He's
same
the
then.
age.
Padawan at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping for like someone like Plo
Yeah,
Koon or
but
Yeah.
someone better than Depa Billaba.
the guy that wrote
Yeah.
the Mafia 3 story is one of the lead writers of the game, but also one of the guys that wrote for Rebels and Clone Wars. I think he wrote Clone Wars. I know he at least wrote Rebels.
Oh.
He's writing the game too, so like kind of keep it in the
Right there.
family and
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so that's going to be out in
Mafia
November
3
this
had a
year.
pretty okay rating. I don't know what its review, whether the review was.
I never played it, but I watched some of my friends play it. It looked cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it was fairly well liked. I mean,
I remember it
got
had a
like
huge
6
opening.
or 7, but I don't
Yeah.
think. I think that was more on gameplay than it was for story.
Yeah.
That's often what drags a lot of games down is the.
See, now I can't wait to see gameplay for Fallen Order.
Oh yeah, it's going to be and it's
Because-
I know a lot of the cutscenes are all mocapped,
Yeah.
which is cool. So like the actors went in there and did their lines very similar to the Battlefront 2 stuff. That was all mocapped as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got Cameron Monaghan playing the Jedi dude. I saw him in Shameless first.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite shows. So like I saw him in there first, and then he got the role on Gotham. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll recheck that back out.
Be in a Star Wars movie.
Oh god, yeah, he'd be awesome. So yeah, so that was the Fallen Order panel. They brought a few of the writers, the producers, and that stuff. They just talked about like behind the scenes and how they're making the game and how they're trying to tie it in pretty nicely with everything else. And
back on Battlefront 2, one of the things that I don't think is really recognized enough in Battlefront 2 is how many Easter eggs there are in the game itself. Because a lot of people naturally watched the cinematics all the way through instead of playing it because nobody wanted to buy the game.
Yeah.
But
I did that first.
Yeah, I haven't watched the cinematics all the way through. I've watched the first one or two.
Yeah.
But like, you want to see what the hell's going on. The Emperor is dead.
Or is he?
Well, yeah, let's.
Yeah.
Or
man,
we'll get to that.
World Between Worlds.
Yeah.
But like walking around Maz Kanata's cantina, you hear people talk. Somebody's talking about Zebarelius.
Yeah.
Someone is talking about Delta Squadron, which is a reference to the Lost Stars characters.
That mission took me forever in the game because once I noticed what they were talking about, I was like,
you want to take your time and listen to everything?
Yeah, I went through every single conversation.
And I was at work and Bryce kept texting me, they just talked about this. They just talked about this.
I was losing it.
Yeah,
I was having such a good time.
That's the best thing about Star Wars is like there's so much lore. Like there could be Jedis out there right now because the galaxy's so big, you know?
Right.
Apparently there are in the game.
And in the comics, like Vader has a whole list of unconfirmed deaths.
That
like
they were trying to
did
go
they
after.
die or not? And Ahsoka and Rex faked their deaths after Order 66.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that's in the Ahsoka book. But yeah, characters from Aftermath, characters from Lost Stars, characters from Leia, like all of these things.
Yeah.
Like they're all.
So this is a podcast, and Bryce keeps pointing to our Star Wars library.
We have a giant library book.
You guys don't have the Phasma book. I was listening. I don't see it over
I don't. I had the audiobook. Yeah, there's a few physical books I'm missing.
Next
Same
time I
thing
come,
with
I'll
a few
bring
comics and stuff. And
I love that book. The Phasma
Did you
book.
really?
Yeah, I
Yeah, it was
something
alright.
about it. I like
It was
really,
alright.
I like the grittiness of it for some reason.
I've heard similar things about the Phasma book as I did about the Vader and Palpatine book, and that it kind of was repetitive.
Yeah,
It was.
Like you're just like, oh, we're going through the same problem. Didn't we already do this?
Yeah.
Like they took
chapters
that
ago.
whole like the timeline is a circle thing a little too far.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
It did get to the
very
point
cool
where it was
ideas,
like-
very cool stories. It was really awesome to see how Phasma got from her like backwater planet to.
Yeah. Did you read the Phasma comic?
No.
Oh, did you read the book?
it was awesome.
It is solid.
Yeah.
You saw the deleted scene from The Last Jedi where Phasma gets called out for being the reason that Starkiller Base got destroyed.
No, because you know how I feel about Last Jedi.
So real quick, just so everybody else knows, Amir, who has probably seen Last Jedi more times than I have, claims that he doesn't like it very much.
He keeps watching it.
Despise that movie.
And every time he watches it
I
again,
love Star
he'll text
Wars.
one of us.
Every time I watch it, every time.
Anyway, there's a deleted scene in it.
I've gotten a little farther though. I've gotten about 20 minutes in without hating it lately.
Okay.
So it's getting better.
Yeah.
You just ignore that Laura Dern doesn't know who her character is.
Yeah.
Doesn't realize that she's supposed to play an adult Luna Lovegood.
Yeah.
So yeah, delete
I'm telling you, man, the one
That
thing
Leia book was so good.
The
That was a
one
good book,
thing
yeah.
that would have fixed that movie is if they had chosen to go with how did they find us, who's our spy plot.
There was
It
an actual
would've-
spy.
There wasn't a spy.
Yeah. Maybe you know what would have been really cool is if there was a spy, but it turns out it was a Bothan spy. Finally got him.
Yeah. Okay, so deleted scene.
The deleted scene in that book or in that movie is that she has Finn cornered off and he's surrounded by stormtroopers.
Yeah.
And he's like, you want to tell all these other stormtroopers that you're the reason that all of their friends are dead, buddy?
Ooh.
And she takes out every single stormtrooper right then and there because
Why does they put that in the movie?
because her reputation is now on the line.
Ugh.
And yeah, because they made some bad choices.
I would have enjoyed that scene.
Yeah, it was really dope.
Yeah.
It's the best part of that whole thing. Anyway,
Check out
Phasma's
the
really
deleted
good.
scenes of that movie. They're so good. And there's a bunch of the deleted scenes that are in the book. They put back in to like smooth everything out.
Yeah, the extended edition of the book has a lot of stuff apparently.
Yeah,
Same
it
for
was
The
really
Force
cool.
Awakens.
Yeah.
I read the Force Awakens one. That one was really good. I was like, whoa, this is
But my
Yeah.
point, coming back to it,
Yeah.
is that these little things, these extra characters that get added in, these other little nuances, get tossed throughout the entire gameplay. Like, you're sneaking past somebody to go, like, shut down a generator, and you hear them going, yeah, is Delta Squadron back? And, like, you're like, oh, cool, Delta Squadron is currently checking out the fleet. Because that's that scene where Sienna... And
Lost Stars.
In Lost Stars, where Sienna actually finds them in the ring of a planet, spying on the Death Star 2, I think, is what they're. It's either Death Star 2 or it's the beginning of the blockade, like, ambush. But they see him, and she ends up, like, one of them, she ends up letting them escape as part of, there's a dogfight. It's super dope.
Yeah.
But the dogfight they're talking about is happening while you're on the ship in the first mission.
Yeah.
So if this game does that, and it's a story-driven game where we have at least somewhat of an open world, where it's not like mission after mission after mission after mission, but actually a full story where you play through it linearly. Even
like
this
God of
game's
War-ish.
gonna be
Like you.
people are gonna be exploring the shit out of this game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of how Knights of the Old Republic kind of was.
Yeah, there's so much tonight to the Old
So
Republic,
Man.
much.
and
It
there's so
wasn't
much
as
tonight to the
linear,
Old
but
Republic
it's
because there's different options for how you end up playing it
Yeah.
because it's an RPG. But like the riddle box, where you get sucked into the box that's supposed to like screw over some other dude for the gangster. Like, you didn't have the riddle box, did you?
Wait, what?
There's a point where you open up the box because a hut has sent it to somebody.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
you
yeah.
open up the box and you get sucked in, and you're in this white world that's just blank, like the Matrix, gun selection screen.
Yeah.
And you're in there with one of the fish people from the water planet.
Which game are we talking about?
That's the Old Republic.
That's Republic.
And you're in there, and he has a riddle contest with you. And if you pass the riddle contest,
That sounds kind of familiar. I think I might have played through it of like the 7 or 8 times I've played through that game on either dark side or light side. I think I might have that once.
yeah,
Because there's so many different things.
yeah, because you
can
might not
do.
even get the box to go give to the person to screw them over. But I looked in the box and I wasn't supposed to, and I got sucked in.
Gosh, that game was so ahead of its time.
Dude.
Oh. That game is the
Amazing.
reason I understand how RPGs work.
Yeah.
Like, I've played plenty of RPGs in my life, but that game's so clear. Like, you have this stat, they have this stat. That's why they're kicking your ass.
Yep.
And I know they're not going to go into that sort of level of gameplay because they're trying to be a little bit more modern. They're not going to try.
Yeah,
to
there'd be a little more
make that
actiony and not as. Not that it was a little bit turn based, but not as.
Well, it was optional turn-based, which
Yeah,
is
that's
nice.
right, yeah.
But this game,
Yeah.
I doubt they're doing anything of the sort.
No,
They're going to
no,
be.
no.
It's going to be.
Straight up.
I want to press a
Combos
button
and-
7 times. Yeah, I want combos.
I think it's going to be more like Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War style type
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, and
Where it's not gonna be
both
open world,
of those are
open
very
enough.
well
Yeah.
known for their
Yeah, their game of the
combat
year.
system. And, yeah,
So
Yeah, so that was the Jedi Fallen Order
Fallen Order.
panel, which was great. There was a bunch of cool little interviews that they did in between, or at least on the live stream. Star Wars,
the Star Wars
live.
show.
I don't remember specific interviews on which days.
Oh, it doesn't matter. If we're going to do any accessory interviews, let's just throw those all at the end.
Yeah. So the next panel up was the Rebels Remembered panel.
Which was really cool.
God, that was so.
They didn't have Freddie Prinze, but they had Hera,
Mm-hmm.
and they had Sabine, and they had Ezra.
Mhm.
And no Steve Bloom either. But Steve Bloom's busy, man. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's busy trying to keep his world record for most video games.
Yeah.
Him
Him and Nolan North are going at it.
Yeah, right.
And then they had Dave Filoni on there.
And Dave Filoni, of course.
Yeah.
And Dave Filoni is fantastic. Super nice guy. We met him last
Yes,
year.
we did.
And you tell me about that.
He was wearing a different hat.
He wasn't wearing a hat, and I was like,
Oh,
I
that's
know
right.
this guy. Holy crap, that's Dave. And then we continued to fanboy and almost.
We almost,
like,
Wayne and Garth, we're
not worthy. We're not worthy.
No, we were like, dude, amazing panel.
Right,
Because that was
thank
when we
you.
had just found out, and I don't know if you guys know this. Clone Wars is coming back?
What?
Yes.
We'll get there later.
But it was right after Clone Wars coming back was just announced.
Like 2
Yeah.
hours later on the
Yeah.
street.
And we saw him on the street outside of Comic-Con, and we were like, Dave!
Yeah.
Hey, guys. How's it going, guys?
Thank you. You're the best.
We
That was
loved that panel. It was so amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like,
Yeah.
you're great.
And he you could tell he was kind of in a hurry to like.
But
get
like he
back to
turned
the-
around and like
but
walked
he-
backwards. He was like,
Yeah,
thanks,
he wanted
guys.
to talk, but he was still in a hurry. And,
He also, we're not part of his trust tree, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Dave Filoni has what he calls the trust tree, and
For different shows.
for his different the different things that he runs.
Yeah.
And the trust tree is a system wherein if you're a part of the trust tree, you get to know things, and it is how he keeps track of who knows what. So if somebody knows something they're not supposed to, he has like
He
handled
can
it.
track it back.
Something gets leaked, he knows who said it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He also can make sure that he can keep things a secret.
Yeah.
And very
Few people are on this.
Very few people are on the tree. Like, they were talking about how Sabine knew the end of the show to a point.
Yeah.
She didn't know what visually was going to happen during her monologue, but she read the
But
monologue.
there's that last monologue in Rebels in the very last episode, which takes place after Return of the Jedi, and it shows you what's going on with everybody in regards to like the original trilogy and what's going on with like Death Star 2 and all that stuff.
Yeah, and she was really cool to listen to because she came in. They had her recorded after pretty much like everything's done.
They had everybody leave, and then Dave's like, "Hey, by the way, let's stay back for a little bit."
Yeah. So she knew things long before anybody else did, but she didn't necessarily know like Ahsoka showing up, or Kanan and Hera having a weird little green-haired baby.
Yeah.
You know.
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's been long.
I mean, we haven't given too many of the huge ones. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think our grace period has passed for that one.
It's literally been years.
That being said, if you have
year,
if you have not watched Star Wars Rebels yet,
You should
definitely do that. And it was, I don't know, they swapped a bunch of stories about what it was like to be on the show and what the plans were.
Yeah, like,
nobody could get anything out of Dave as to whether or not they had plans for the future for it.
Yeah. Which is hilarious.
Just that he has ideas, but he's not gonna go into any of those sorts of things with them.
Those is all the behind the scenes logistics that us normal people.
Oh, and we're not part of the trust tree.
We're not part of the trust tree. Exactly. Yeah. No, but it was really cool, and they showed like a few clips of pictures and like behind
Concept
the scenes,
art. Why they went with
concept
Loth
art.
Wolves.
Yeah.
You want to know why they went with Loth Wolves?
Why?
Dave Filoni likes wolves.
Simple enough.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
He really likes wolves.
Yeah.
Also because wolves are a really good balance of light and dark, and that they're graceful, and that they have honor and a pack and all these sorts of things. But they're also kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Look,
And if you're going for a force sensitive or force associated creature that isn't on one side or the other, kind of like Bindu and things like that, which they didn't even mention Bindu, but
Damn it.
Yeah.
if you're going for that, a wolf is really, really a cool part of that. And how Kanan reacts to the wolves when he sees them versus how Ezra reacts to the wolves when he sees them shows where in the Force they kind of lie.
Yeah.
And a lot of things, they basically were this like litmus test for like where the characters were.
Yeah. But also even with their training as well.
Yeah. And they talked about what it was like with like why Kanan's eyes changed color during the scene with the fire on one side and them on the other and things like that, because it was actually kind of half an accident.
Yeah.
And Dave draws a ton of the storyboards for it.
Yeah.
And anytime Dave's involved in something,
Intricate.
it's intricate and it's important. But he will. He said in the Clone Wars panel last year, do a little bit more of a loose. This is kind of what I want for most things, but if he thinks that it's actually important where the angles are, he'll start putting a lot more detail into his drawing. Super cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And I'll have the animators like focus on it a little more, like, hey, like pay special attention to this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going for, and this is why I'm going for it.
Like the droid episode, the astromech episodes of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
He was very specific about how those angles had to work, because that episode has to be cinematically interesting, because otherwise it's not.
Droids can't really talk too, so
You're working
everything's done
on beeps and a very angry, tiny little Jedi.
Yeah.
Or I guess, is he a Jedi?
Who? Wait, who?
I guess he's just a commander in the astromech episode of Clone Wars. The little guy who rides in the astromech. I don't think he's force sensitive at all. I think he's just a commander who happens to be a foot and a half tall.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was really cool seeing the voice actors. First off, they're all good friends.
Yeah.
And they all record most of the episodes together.
Yeah.
So they can play off each other.
Which is very rare for animation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then also it was cool having them talk about their character and their journey from like the first season to the last season.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Sabine felt like she had all of her shit together. Her character, her actress was saying, I really felt like I was kind of this wise beyond her years kind of character.
Yeah.
And as her character begins to grow, she pointed out, she was like, I realized my character doesn't have it all figured out.
No.
And which is
you can
neat,
see
because
that.
you can see that, because she is a little cocky in the beginning, and then she naturally breaks down in a way that her actress kind of felt that she did too.
Yeah. So it was cool, and
Freddie Prinze Jr. pushed for
Kanan to
have what happened to Kanan.
Yeah.
Like, he actually pushed for it.
Oh,
He was
really?
like, Dave, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. It's
That's
gotta
pretty
happen
cool.
this way. And they're like, what? Why?
Yeah, no,
why
that's-
would
yeah.
you make those horrible things happen?
Yeah, the voice actress that did Hera was like, we were all fighting for ourselves to like not die off, and here's
Well, now
Freddy
we're
over
there.
here.
Okay, so Kanan
Yeah.
fought for his own death, not for his blindness.
Yeah. Whatever. Well, yeah, that happened. It's fine. It's
Okay,
cool.
so that's Rebels. We need to move on because we
Yeah, yeah. So that was basically the Saturday panels.
Jonas interviewed himself.
That was I think that was Saturday. So the guy that plays Chewbacca now, or they were
Yeah.
on the Star Wars
With his
Live.
baby. So
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
And his baby's not afraid of Chewbacca.
Yeah, it's perfect. But no, so they were interviewing some company that did some sort of Chewie bust or like life-size head model kind of thing. And all of a sudden here comes Jonas like out of the door like, oh, I heard my name over here. And they're like, oh, it's Chewie! And so we stand on stage, they finished the interview with everybody, and then everybody kind of left, and he's like,
Nobody had a plan to stay on and talk to Chewie for a while.
Yeah, so we sit there like, where did everybody go? Guess I'm interviewing myself now. So he was just like, hey, so how was the interview, or how was it playing Chewbacca in the movie? He's like, oh, it was so good. He would kind of go back and forth, and then he started interacting with the audience, and then the guy that co-hosts the Star Wars show, he's kind of off the side, just watching like from a couple feet off. There's like a little table that's on there. He was kind of like hiding on it and just watching the actor that plays Chewie now, just like doing his own thing, and he's such like a goof and like such a dork, and you're just like,
He is.
our people. This is perfect. Like,
Yeah.
he should be around co-hosting everything.
Yeah.
And he's so humble, and he's so
He seems like such a really cool guy. Like
Yeah.
in the episode 9 panel, I was like, "This is my favorite guy." On
Yeah.
the
He's such a dork.
Yeah.
Like, on that panel, I was like, you're almost cringy because you're too excited.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like everyone else, like
I loved
Poe's
it,
like,
though.
I'm pretty cool, and Ray's like, well, I'm here, and I love you guys, and Finn's like, I'm definitely cool, and then
Yeah.
there's Jonas who's like, hi everybody, what's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah, he
It
was
is
so
cool.
cool.
Here, let me
Swedish
speak
accent.
Wookiee for you because I speak Wookiee.
Yes,
Yeah.
he'll do the Chewie
Like
voice.
it's not even augmented, but I'm all
Yeah,
right.
he goes for it.
Go
and it's
for
just
it.
He
like,
doesn't care.
If you got a
he's our people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he.
You
of
can
all
tell
of
he's somebody
them-
who's excited about being in Star Wars.
Oh,
I think they're all excited about being in Star Wars, but I don't think it's truly
they weren't.
worn off
Yeah.
like how
Yeah.
magical that is because
And plus, he's Chewbacca. Like,
Yeah,
he's true.
And I
yeah,
think
he's not
Chewbacca.
Ray, a new character.
And I think
or-
he almost seems like he was more of a fan of Star Wars than anybody else before he was cast.
yeah,
Like he
Oh,
was
yeah.
a straight up fan.
like
And
I
of
think
course-
all of them loved Star Wars, like Star
Or
Wars,
liked
heck
it,
yeah.
yeah.
But like I feel like he was
in it
our
already.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
he's
and-
one of us in a Star Wars.
And
movie.
I think he goes a little bit too far with things like when he takes over and he's like, can I just real quick, can I just be the guy who says I'd like to give a shout out to Peter Mayhew, my mentor, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah.
You're like, I mean, I'm
That's
not
cool.
judging you for making that shout out. You totally
No
should.
way, yeah.
It's freaking
Yeah.
Peter Mayhew. I got an autographed picture of him in the next room.
yeah,
And it's framed. But like the fact that he's like, I want to you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Anthony Daniels.
Yeah.
Anthony
Yeah.
Daniels has that same level of like,
excitement.
I love this. I
Yeah.
love everything
Oh, yeah.
about
he
this.
milks everything.
Like I kind of want
Exactly.
Anthony Daniels, Alan Tudyk, and Jonas.
Interviewed by Stephen Colbert.
Yeah,
he
I want
won Star
them.
Wars
Colbert.
3 weeks longer than everybody else.
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be. I'd watch the hell out of that. Panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jonas interviewed himself.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
interviewed yourself, and it was hilarious, and that kind of gave way to the Rebels panel there.
Right.
Yeah. And that was
cool.
Saturday.
Yeah.
That was Saturday's schedule.
Solid. Nothing crazy. The video game was probably the biggest news.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that was the end of the episode. Because cutting things into multiple days makes for more content.
Yeah, it does.
So listen to the next one.
Here we go.
Next time on Dragon Ball SG.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The greatest news. Please pay us, WWE. We really need money.
To wrap up Sunday,
Coconut husks.
Game of Thrones.
We covered this table in cheese.
It was an episode.
Battlefront 2 wasn't DICE, were they?
No.
No, that was the original, I think.
Let's find out.
Fact check!
Check.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a little fact check in their life.
I googled fact check. God damn it.